Always take the sod off before you dig, or you're going to have all that weed, all that grass. You can shake it out. But before you dig, before you till, it is way easier to control the weeds if you take that sod off. Don't put it back in the garden. Put it in the compost. I have some white sand and some darker orange sand. And then I have my topsoil layers, which goes down about a foot. That's not too bad. I think I'm going to turn around. Give me a view over here. It's about a foot down, eh? Yeah. See, that topsoil layer, yeah, I don't think there's any clay in that. I didn't put any clay. So that's just organic material. It does leave a slime because there's a lot of poop in topsoil. That sand, let me get it. Yeah, that's really gritty. There is no way that is holding any kind of ribbon. That is sand. Now, that red and the white sand is kind of mixed up. There's a lot of quartz in the area and a lot of iron-rich rock. Oh, there you go. You can see a better on the sand there. So we're doing that, and we're mixing a little tiny bit of ash back in with it when we marry it all back in. The ash is just put on like a shaker. That is topsoil, and that white stuff, that gray, is ash, but that's topsoil. There's only like a salt shaker amount, like you're putting spices on a food, not like you're, I don't know, putting dirt in a garden. Thank you. This was an area I dug not too far from where I am, and you can see how red that sand is. And then that sand's like a white or a creamy color, almost like a yellow. But it's got red and white in it. Down here you can see the white, and you can see the red, and then you can see that black, which is topsoil. There is more clay in the area, but I don't even think that has, no. All sand, topsoil, sorry. When you say a lot of wood chip and debris, you kind of see the differences there. The topsoil color and the red, well, orange, and the white down there. So that's what my dirt looks like in my garden. Okay, here's some rabbit bedding. You end up having hay in it, pine shavings, rabbit poop, and a little bit of food or anything that is left in there. I put DE earth stuff in there, just a little bit. So when it does go into the garden, you end up getting that in the garden too, which is good to keep bugs and that away, but usually when it gets wet, it's no good anymore. So really it's just adding trace minerals. That's more rabbit bedding. That's pretty thick. You put it on that thick, you're not going to get anything growing. Nothing. So you end up putting it out on really thin, like that, and that's no problem. Put it on thicker if you want to keep a weed out, and that will get hot. It will compost. You want it to compost more, add something like coffee grounds. I put coffee grounds down here and then put the bedding on the top, or even coffee grounds on the top, wouldn't mug anything. I also take any unused coffee out of the pot and I put it in my compost bucket or a separate one and come out and water it down and then water on top of mulch with it. It'll help it bring it down. But you see, here has nothing because we just dug that. Usually we'll dig it and then for a few years we won't. This year, this one's not getting dug. It got dug last year and I added a good, couple inches or whatever of compost around the plants that were coming up. Because we didn't do this bed first. So we just added it around, which you can do that too. Keeps weeds down, added extra nutrition, so we're making this garden a little bit bigger. Not much, but we're making other garden bigger. Last year we made it that much bigger. Now we made it all the way around the tree. So more and more gardens this year because of the compost that I got with the bunny rabbit shavings. So we need another bucket of that, but that's probably all that we'll put on. It be this size bucket right there. Maybe about 3 of them. And you even it all out. And they're, that's a good amount. Couple inches. Then wait a little while or what I usually do is when I plant into it and there is shavings, I'll thin it out and I'll go like that. And you can plant into the dirt and then kind of cover it back up like carrot or beets. I've done that. So it keeps it moist around it, but it's not really on top of it. But if you did get a little bit on top, it is thin enough that plants, even a carrot, can pop up through that. Very easy. But if you put it on thick, nothing will pop up. It's like a weed barrier. See, that's a thin layer there. You can actually see the dirt in some spots, which is fine. Because we're going to plant into that direct seed into it, so you don't want it very thick. And you're putting seeds into it. But if you're doing stuff like potatoes, I'll show you. Okay, that grass is really, really bad. It comes into the garden and it takes over that whole garden and I give up and I can't deal with this garden. And I have added so much mulch that it's kind of above ground now, but it still gets overgrown in grass. See, I added a whole whack load of mulch last year. Grass is coming right up through it, don't care. So this year I tried to add a lot of mulch. And I think we did it late last summer too, added a lot of mulch. And stuff don't like growing in it. Even our potatoes didn't do very well. Yeah, that's a weed. That one is a dock. Edible weed, but it has, you have kidney problems, don't eat it. I can't remember the acid name. Yeah, that's a dock. It'll push up through a lot. But you see in the middle here, nothing's coming up through that. But anywhere it comes thin, then the grass grows up through it. And there's our dig bed with our potatoes. It's a nice color there, but it has mulch in that. Did we dig that mulch in? We try to keep it to the top, right? Because that ties up nitrogen sometimes. Sometimes not if you're keeping it to the very top. Mm-hmm. But it's hard when you're digging potatoes with the mulch to take the mulch back, dig the potato, and then put the mulch back again.
Yeah. I think there still might be potatoes in there.
Maybe potatoes in there. Well, they'll grow. Oh, and look. Ashley, you said that you might get problems when you get hay, or, well, we had seeds in here. We had sunflower seed, which you can still see a bunch of them, and we had oats. Now look in there, that is a mole hole, for sure. And that bedding would be a perfect spot to hide in the winter to stay warm under that bedding. So yeah, you do get more critters. Thank you, honey. Thank you very much. Check out Ashley at Canadian Gardening. She got a lot of science behind what she talks about. Thank you. There's always one more thing, isn't there? With deep mulch, this was about, that thick in the spring last year. Vine, stuff that climbs or vines over top, that is a grill all over the ground. It will cover the ground. It don't care, it'll grow up through. Dandelions, it didn't grow up last year, but there's one this year. So, onions, they found it protective and they stayed alive, but vining grow over the mulch. It's not a good way to deter it.